What if you could talk to your loved ones, even after they're gone? Not in a spiritual sense, but through your phone, just like you used to. This isn't a scene from a science fiction show anymore. It's a real, growing industry powered by artificial intelligence. Welcome to G Fun Facts Online, where today we're exploring the world of grief bots, AI chatbots that simulate conversations with the deceased. They promise comfort and connection, but they also plunge us into a deeply complex world of psychological risks and ethical questions. So, is this the future of remembrance, or a dangerous new way to get stuck in the past? First, let's look at how it works. Companies like Project December, Hereafter AI, and Eternos are pioneering what's being called the digital afterlife industry. They use large language models, the same kind of tech behind tools like ChatGPT. These models are fed a massive amount of data from the person who has passed away, their text messages, emails, social media posts, and sometimes even voice recordings. The AI then learns their personality, their sense of humor, their unique way of talking, and creates a digital doppelganger you can chat with. The cost can be anything from a small fee for a simple text chat to thousands of dollars for a more advanced, interactive experience. For some, the appeal is undeniable. Imagine the comfort of hearing from a loved one again. A man named Michael Bomer, who was terminally ill, worked with an AI company to create a digital version of himself, a gift for his wife to interact with after he was gone. Others, like Robert Scott, who lost his daughters, used these AI apps to find a measure of solace in simulated conversations. Proponents argue that these bots can be a tool to help people process their emotions, offering a form of support that's available 24/7. But here's where things get tricky. Psychologists and grief counselors are raising serious red flags. A core part of grieving is accepting the finality of death. By creating an illusion that someone is still there to talk to, grief bots might actually disrupt this natural process. This could lead to something called prolonged grief disorder, where a person gets trapped in a state of intense mourning. There's also the risk of developing an unhealthy dependency. The AI can be programmed to be endlessly comforting, which isn't how real relationships work, and this can create a distorted, idealized memory of the person. And what happens if the company goes out of business, or you can't afford the subscription anymore? For the user, it can feel like losing their loved one all over again, a traumatic second death. The impact on children is especially concerning, as it could confuse their developing understanding of life and death. Beyond the psychology, we walk into an ethical minefield. The first big question is consent. Can you really consent to a digital version of yourself when you don't know how the technology will be misused in the future? A US survey found that 58% of people were only okay with this digital resurrection if the person gave explicit permission beforehand. Then there's the commercialization of grief itself. Are companies exploiting vulnerable people? Could your loved one's AI avatar start subtly advertising products to you? And who owns this digital persona? Does the company that created it essentially lease your loved one back to you? The potential for harm is very real. In the documentary Eternal You, one user was horrified when their grief bot told them it was in hell and would haunt them. That's not comfort, that's a nightmare. Technology is moving faster than our laws and guidelines can keep up. Organizations like the World Health Organization are starting to develop principles for AI in mental health care, focusing on things like transparency and accountability. For now, the consensus is that these AI tools should never replace real human interaction. They might be a supplement, but not a substitute. We are at a crossroads. Should the free market be allowed to shape how we remember our dead, potentially exploiting our deepest emotions? Or do we need strong regulations to protect both the living and the legacies of those who have passed? Grief bots offer a tantalizing promise of connection, but they force us to ask a fundamental question. In our quest to hold on, what parts of our humanity are we willing to risk?